Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with another reaction for you guys. Today guys, of course, we're here checking out the next episode of The Batman, continuing the journey of the show. This is Season 1, Episode 6 of The Batman, The Big Chill. Now, it's obvious with that title, Mr. Freeze. Now, watch me be wrong, and it's not about Mr. Freeze, but I'm pretty sure it is because he's in the intro, from what I'm remembering, he's in the intro of the show, so I'm assuming The Big Chill is referring to him, but watch me be wrong. But regardless, I'm loving the hell out of the show. I really am loving the hell out of the show. The last episode, The Man Who Would Be Bat, I had a prediction in terms of like, well, maybe it's about Bruce becoming Batman. It's kind of an origin or whatever, like a, him thinking back a couple years ago before he became the Batman. What was the turning point in terms of him putting on the cape and cowl? We know the origin of it in terms of his parents, but I mean in terms of the moment when he was older, like, when he started to become the Batman in Gotham. I was wrong. It's about Man-Bat. So really enjoyed the progression of that and how, Dr. Landstrom wanted to be feared and everything, and he wanted to be the better Bat after fighting Batman and everything. And so I'm curious to see, like, where the storyline goes in terms of Bruce and everything becoming more well known as the Batman, because I'm guessing he's still considered a myth, but not really, because now Gotham seems to be talking a lot about him in the news or whatever. And of course, we have Yen and Bennett going after him, but Bennett once again being saved by the Batman. Of course, his friend Bruce, he doesn't know that, but the more and more that things unfold within the show so far, Bennett, of course, is on, a part of the team at the end to track the Batman and to stop him or whatever. He's finding more and more reasons to not do that, to not want to do that. So I'm loving that aspect of it. I'm curious where we go from here. I'm loving the fact that this show reminds me of certain elements of Batman the Animated Series, of course, the 90s series with Kevin Conroy, but the fact that there's differences as well to make me, enjoy the show for what it is, because it's really standing out on its own. It's got some of those tonal things that I like, and music, and the visuals and everything, and some of the things they do in terms of the story that reminds me of the, of course, classic Batman animated show, but the fact there's certain things as well that's making it stand out to be different. I'm really appreciating that. So here we go, guys. The Batman, Season 1, Episode 6, The Big Chill. Let's go.
What's our procedure in case of an iceberg? An iceberg?
Yeah, after they talk about how there's like 100-degree weather and a heat wave.
Mr. Freeze will do.
I like the design. It's different. Oh, I'm gonna do it to him next. Oh.
Have an ice evening.
Oh no, the ice puns. Oh no.
You know how stir crazy I'd be lying on some beach?
I mean, yeah, Batman doesn't need a... Oh?
If I go, it's only to make you happy.
I mean, yeah, because... Oh, duty calls. Suit up. I like that they show him suiting up in the show. They can easily not show it, but they show it. It's a giant. Oh, they have all the ships around it, too. Oh, sorry.
But the victim seems to have been flash frozen.
Yeah. Some sort of device or something. I mean, yeah, froze it.
A path of solid ice. Freeze's trail is as clear as crystal.
Crystal. They're gonna find every which way to make ice puns, aren't they? I feel like they're going to.
Mind if I help myself?
I mean, who's gonna stop you? My God. That device is really handy when you freeze the stuff. There you go.
Lovely little glaciers.
Froze them.
I've been looking forward to our reunion. Reunion?
But he said reunion. What do you mean by that? Whoa.
That would be the hypothermia setting.
What the fuck, man?
There's the symptoms.
Yeah.
Time slows. The big chill.
The Big Chill. Nice. Damn. That was crazy. Oh. Okay, okay, what are you gonna do?
Diamonds. The biggest
Diamonds in the rough.
former life.
Yeah. Oh. Damn.
The icy hand of fate led me to that cryonics lab.
Yeah. I love how they're keeping him in the dark in this flashback for the most part. Oh? Got locked in. Damn. Yeah.
My body
That's cool.
neither living nor dead, walking cryonic miracle. Though some might consider me a monstrosity.
I mean, yeah. Miracle monstrosity, same thing.
Expert in the field.
Police!
Oh,
Freeze!
freeze. He's like Iceman.
He's gone.
Uh-oh.
But he left us a present.
Sure did.
Hey, Bats got into this pickle because he was trying to stop Freeze.
I'm sure the Batman
Yeah.
means well, but he's still
Oh my
a
gosh.
vigilante.
And?
To the law, Batman, that makes you a criminal.
Oh, he could have done it any time. Why was he waiting?
Something cold to drink, Master Bruce?
No. Yeah, it's not good. You keep Alfred updated.
It's my fault. He's what he is.
It's not your fault. He was running. He chose to run from you, man.
I'm not helping the law. Maybe it is time for the Batman to take a vacation.
Oh, vacation. Okay, I think he's gonna quit. Oh, Jesus Christ, Bruce, come on. No, he didn't do anything. You're the one who was driving like crazy and almost hit him.
Master Bruce.
What? You having dreams now? Hallucinations. Yeah. He's trying to stop them, and they're not stopping.
The Batman's needed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought as much.
What? What is that?
Liberty of weatherproofing.
What is that? Holy shit, I like this. This is awesome. He's driving right on in. Doesn't give a shit. Yep.
You've made me more than human.
Sorry, Vic, but I'm done
Vic.
taking credit for your handiwork.
Okay. Good answer.
Yourself on ice.
Slick as ice, Batman. I won't need
Slick as ice. Also, he's blending in a little bit. Ooh. Didn't see that coming. God, I'm loving this. This is great, guys. This is great. Nice move. Okay.
You're finished, Batman.
He's actually not. He's getting the upper. Oh! He's getting the advantage. Fire. Smart. That car. I knew it. I knew it. There was a reason why it was parked the way it was. Oh.
Bats may be a criminal, but he's my kind of criminal.
Okay. I like that answer. Or that response.
Hot tea in the lozenge, sir.
Yes, please.
Cold drink on a warm.
I love that suit. I love it so much.
Batwave.
The ice puns. I should have known there was going to be ice puns. But I loved this episode, regardless of all that. I loved the episode of the ice puns. I mean, just bringing me back to Batman and Robin, which is not a good thing. But the fact is, they were giving ice puns, and they were trying to make it as serious as they could, especially with this version of Mr. Freeze. And so, there's a lot of things to discuss with the differences and everything in terms of Mr. Freeze and the approach they went with, the origin and everything. But anyways, we'll get to all that. So the opening of the episode started off with this heat wave in Gotham, over 100 degrees, and it's not going to be breaking anytime soon. I'm like, okay, so it's really hot in Gotham. Then guess who's going to show up? Mr. Freeze, and he does. I wasn't expecting, however, him to show up from a giant iceberg out in the middle of, well, not really out in the middle of the ocean, but basically nearby, coming closer to Gotham, because there's a boat out there, and the guy driving the boat's like, sir, is there a protocol for icebergs? Like, icebergs? What are you talking about? Like, oh my god, there's a giant iceberg. And then he jumps on and he's making ice puns immediately. Like, Mr. Call me Freeze. And then, you know, ice to meet you, or have an ice evening is what he said when he left the boat. Have an ice evening. Like, okay. Ice puns. But his whole goal is to basically get revenge on Batman, which they actually show a flashback, which I wasn't expecting at the time and all that. But his whole thing is to basically just one-up his former self, like his past life, with stealing crystals and, you know, diamonds, stealing jewelry. I wasn't expecting that direction because, as most of us know in terms of Mr. Freeze that his origin is surrounding, of course, his wife and everything, and it's a whole thing. There's a lot of layers to Mr. Freeze in terms of why he does what he does. They gave a small hint of that by showing a picture of him and who we presume is, his wife. As he's driving away and being chased by Batman in the flashback, we saw a quick little shot. I'm like, oh, ooh. But they don't go anything else. They don't go anything else in terms of Nora or anything, or bring up Nora or whatever. But I wonder why they went that different direction. Probably because the Batman animated series covered it so much that they felt like we should go a different direction. Like, the design obviously is very different in terms of like the spikiness of it or whatever. But yeah, and he's very resourceful. Has a lot of different ways of using his ice powers. And then when they go about showing in the flashback where he says, it's nice to have a reunion, and Batman's like, what? And I'm like, so they've met before? But I think Batman would have known if he met this guy, but it was Victor Freeze, just some bank robber or whatever. And he himself is the one who runs away from Batman and gets trapped in some sort of cryogenic tube or whatever, and then he becomes something in the middle to where he's not alive or dead, and they don't say the word dead, but he's something more. He's either a miracle or a monstrosity, whichever way you want to look at it. Because he mentioned both. Like, some people might say me as a miracle. Some might say I'm a monstrosity. Well, I think I'm going to say the latter, not the former. You're not a miracle. I mean, you kind of are, but you're a monstrosity, especially the way you're going about using your new abilities that no one has. So throughout the episode, we have a lot of ice puns, and Batman gets his ass handed to him. He can't handle the cold because literally he like raises his hand, Mr. Freeze, and like freezes the whole room. And he's mentioning all the things about hypothermia and how there's stages to it. And he almost completely freezes Batman. And he has this little tool when he freezes stuff. This little tool, it's like a heating explosion device, and he taps it on the thing he freezes, and then it explodes. It's pretty crazy. It's like okay, anything he touches like that and it freezes, he can explode. So he almost freezes Batman, and then of course Yin and Bennett show up, and Yin was about to take off his mask. Like, well, I get it. He's helping, but he's also vigilante, and in the law that's not good. And but he has like a device on his belt to get him out. I'm like, wait, why were you waiting to use that little thing on your belt to get out of the ice block? Like, why didn't you do that sooner? I don't know. But, so we go through all that. Batman has a major fever. He's, not on the brink of death, but he's in really bad shape. And Alfred has been mentioning since the beginning of the show about, even though we just started the show, he's like, Bruce, maybe you should hang this up, and been mentioning early in the episode, maybe you should go on vacation. And then Bruce is like, maybe I should go on a permanent vacation because maybe I'm not helping because literally I created Mr. Freeze. You really didn't create him though. Victor Freeze himself chose to jump in that cryogenic tube. Like, he's the one who made that decision. It wasn't you, Bruce. It wasn't you who pushed him into it. And I like how within that flashback stuff, they hid a lot of Batman within it, like hiding him in the shadows and everything is really a nice touch. But in terms of like the mystery of it or whatever, in terms of the flashback and what Victor was kind of witnessing and how he was going about all this nonsense. But yeah, so no, Bruce, you didn't create him. And then he tells Alfred that maybe it should be a permanent vacation. The Batman should be hung up. Like, no. He has a vision of Joe Chill becoming, Mr. Freeze, like flashing back and forth between Freeze and Joe Chill, Freeze, Joe Chill, and him as a boy trying to stop, Martha, his mom and dad from being shot by Joe Chill. And it was really interesting because we saw where he was sitting in the police, in the GCPD and the police department when he was young, and there's Jim Gordon there, but we haven't seen the death of the Waynes in the show yet. And obviously they can't show it, it's a kid's show, but that was the first time they actually really showed it in a sense, and also had it to where it ties into, him imagining it. It's Victor Freeze, it's Mr. Freeze doing it instead of Joe Chill. I wonder if we're going to cover Joe Chill in the show. We have probably one of the coolest things the show has done. It's what I consider, I'm naming it the Arctic suit. Maybe it has a name for it. Maybe there's a name that the showrunners created for it. But the Arctic suit. was so freaking awesome. I think there's a version of that suit in the comics, if I remember correctly, but just the way they designed it within the show and the color scheme of it, oh my god, I freaking loved it so much. And him fighting in the giant Gotham City Park or whatever against Mr. Freeze, he's like covered this whole thing up. He has a giant dome of ice, all this stuff frozen. That whole fight sequence was great. It was really well structured, showing that Batman has the upper hand no matter what, and him using fire like guns or whatever to try to melt some of the ice, and then using his car, the way it parked, it has its back, which all the flames and all the stuff that comes out of it when he flies down the road is facing Mr. Freeze, and he has no idea, like, oh, Batman, it's like, no, trust me, this is not going to end well for you, and then he gets his ass handed to him. But, you know, but seeing how Alfred modified and created a new version of a suit for him to wear against Mr. Freeze was freaking awesome. It was so badass. And I wanted to see more of it. And of course, it's probably not going to show up, you know, again, unless Mr. Freeze shows up again. But it was so cool to see that difference of a suit there, because he needed to find a way to fight, because it really made it feel more realistic in terms of, like, sun's probably going here, sun, major sun here, but it really made it feel more realistic in terms of how powerful this Mr. Freeze was, how powerful this version was, that he's creating all this crazy ice stuff, and Batman's just wearing a suit. Like, there's only so much that it can protect him, and probably the coldness and the ice and everything, it wasn't going to protect him from, you know, getting hypothermia, getting sick, or being hurt in that way, because Mr. Freeze, like, it wasn't bothering him at all. He's the one creating it. It has no effect on him. But so they had to create a suit that would help him deal with the cold and everything, and it was really well done. They pulled it off very well. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, so it seems like there's not going to be any vacation anytime soon for Batman. There really shouldn't be a vacation. I understand why the point of him wanting a vacation or him needing to get away, because that's probably a lot of stress. But at the same time, you know, duty calls. Gotham needs saving. And also Bennett at the end there saying, you know, he may be a criminal, but he's my kind of criminal. Basically saying, I'm siding with Batman here. I'm siding with the man. So that's pretty good. But anyways, really enjoyed the episode. Great stuff there. Arctic suit. That was so awesome to see that new suit. It was really cool. But yeah, so there you go, guys. The Big Chill. They actually said that in the episode. So anyways, what did you guys think of the episode? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Whatever thoughts you have, guys, please let me know in the comments below. Really enjoying the hell out of the show. I cannot wait to get into more of this show and to dive in to see more of what the show has to offer. But man, this show is delivering, in my opinion. And these first 6 episodes, if it's a clear indication of where the show is heading, I'm all for it, and I cannot wait to see more. So that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out.